Today, we're going to talk about whole life insurance. So, in the industry, you either love whole life insurance or you hate it, right? And what most adversaries are going to say is that you need to not invest in whole life because it only benefits you when you die. Well, by the end of this video today, we're going to go over a couple of reasons as to why you need whole life insurance and how it's going to benefit you while you are alive. So, don't forget to like and subscribe. I always have a problem saying that word, subscribe. Okay, don't forget to like and subscribe and click the link below so that we can know how we can help you once we have spoken about a couple of the reasons that might interest you as to attaining and getting the coverage that you need for your family. So today, the first one we're going to talk about is, of course, the lifelong coverage that you receive with whole life insurance, right? But of course, this is only if we pay our premium, right? And so in so doing, we have that for a lifetime. So it's kind of like, if you think about term insurance is for the life, meaning 10, 15, maybe 30 years. However, if you do not pass away within that time frame, you lose all those benefits, right? And so because of that, your coverage is really limited. It is not for your whole life, right? With whole life insurance, it is for your whole life, but it does not mean that your premium has to be for your whole life, but you can decide when you want those premiums to stop. And so having this coverage allows your spouse or your family to be able to grieve properly without having to really rush back into going to work or selling the property because they can't afford to have the property because now they're trying to make ends meet. And because there was not enough coverage from your passing, now they have to find a way to buffer those costs of making ends meet, right? And so that's totally unfair because, for one, they're not able to really reflect upon the memories that they had of you, but instead they're crying and they're struggling because not only are they brokenhearted, but they're also having to make ends meet and be stressed out in the process. And so now your children have to be displaced into a new location because now mommy or daddy has to sell the property because there was not enough money there in order to accommodate, right? And so, we have a lot of our clients say, my wife has $1 million or $2 million, that should be enough. But what most people don't realize is the cost that occurs upon someone's death. And so we'll talk about that in a few minutes. The next process is the cash value that you have in the policy, right? And that's one of my favorite features of this plan is because it allows you to be able to use the money that you are investing into your policy, or saving, I should say, into your policy. And now you're able to borrow from that and use it for different investments, whether that's real estate, whether that's self-development, whether that is buying a new home, buying a car. The list goes on as to what you can even do, even college planning. We'll talk about that in another video. But however, that is really, really one of the best benefits of whole life insurance that many people don't realize. And this is really the vehicle that many wealthy people utilize because guess what? You have control and access to your money. You don't have to be harassed by the bank. You don't have to go through credit checks. There's so many things because it's your money and you just tell them you want access to your money and they'll just send you a check or wire the money to you, right? And so we want to be able to have that control because when we look in today's economy, how many of you are secure in today's government system as to what they're doing with our money, as to where taxes are going, whether they're going up or they're going down? Not me. I'm not feeling very secure about that. So if you're not feeling secure, then you want to be able to put your money somewhere where you have guaranteed growth and it is not linked only to a stock market. So, and then when you have your money in this vehicle, you can now put that in the stock market or in real estate, etc. Because guess what? Now your money is doing two jobs instead of one, right? Because when we go and we buy a vehicle, cash, guess what? We're now back to $0. And so we have to start re-saving again. Or when we use credit, guess what? We have this big excess bill and now we have to work our way back down to that zero, right? So in both situations, we're losing money instead. But with the whole life insurance, you're able to use that money as if you didn't even touch it, right? So it's still compounding interest on your opportunities that you're taking, but also in your policy. It's like, that's the best of both worlds. Like, hey, we can have our cake and eat it too, finally, right? And then the last thing I want to touch on is the fact that whole life insurance is really beneficial for estate planning. Many people don't realize the costs for not having the proper plans in place for our families, right? And so they don't realize that even with transferring a home or a vehicle to someone, it costs money. So now your properties have to go in probate in order for the attorneys and the courts to work that out. And guess what? It takes time, right? And so because of that time, now your hard-earned money that you might have saved is now being given to the court system because if we had a whole life policy, that money would immediately just go to your families, skip the probate process. But even in with your properties, you still have to put those things in a trust, right? And you have to make sure that is put in the correct type of trust. And so with so doing, many people also don't realize that even upon your death, you have to pay taxes, right? They call it death tax, right? And so this is pretty much like your last income tax that you have to give the government. So whether you're alive or have passed on, the government is going to find a way to get their money. And those laws are already in place. So we want to make sure that we, just find ways to be more effective in our strategies that we're utilizing. Something that can really, really make us more financially efficient on the back end. So that way that money is not coming out of our hard-earned money that we have saved up throughout our lives. And so we want to be able to, really be able to protect our family, leverage our money while we're still alive, because the amount of horror stories that we hear in regards to someone passing away, it's just totally unfair to your family and to the organizations that you love, because even when you look at celebrities that have passed on, many times you will see even a portion of their estate in probate because it was not placed in a trust. And so now that becomes public and everyone knows what's going on, and the families are fighting and bickering back and forth because the proper paperwork, the proper funding was not placed. And so now people are battling for years in the court system because they cannot agree on something. So I empower you today to put the proper things in place so your family does not have to go through that. And especially if you are a business owner or a CEO of some sort, you need to put those business plans in place, because that can become an additional battle for your family. And they might have to sell your family business because guess what? The proper things were not in place for them to be able to balance the books. And so now that legacy that you wanted to leave is now gone because they can't afford it. So I implore you to click the link below, and we will stop here for today, and just let me know how we can help you with your whole life insurance so that you can be able to protect yourself, your family, and an organization that you care about, that you want to be able to leave a legacy for. We will continue this conversation in our next video. All right, have a great one.